Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin, and I am trying to make this video for the second time today. It was definitely a fail the first time. So I am making this video for both my in-class Tuesday, Thursday geography class that has now been converted to online format, and I also I'm making this for my online Geography 103 class because we're covering the same material. So I figured I'd make a combined video because it's just easier to make one video than two videos. So you'll hear me talking about two separate groups in this video, but it's just easier that way. I hope everyone's doing well, so let's start off with that. I hope everyone is staying safe. I hope that your families and friends are not infected with the virus. I have some neighbors who were infected that I just found out their entire family was infected, and they had tested positive on March 25th, so they are just kind of recovering after 3 weeks of the virus. And so I just, I just hope everybody is, trying to stay safe. I know some of you do have to go to work. I know you do have to be exposed, and I definitely feel you, and I appreciate all of the work that you're doing. If you're leaving your house and having to go to work every day, I really appreciate you, and I appreciate it. So from my family to yours, thank you for the work that you're doing. If you are a healthcare worker and you need some help, please let me know. Let me know well ahead of time, though. And I need to, of course, see your credentials that you are a healthcare worker so that I can help you. But in the meantime, let's move forward with this course. We're just going to stay the course in this class because we've been going so well. And I want to give you some time to write your final paper. So that's why I'm keeping the course going in the same fashion, because it's just easier to keep plowing through than it is to extend for 2 full more weeks. I had already given a lot of padding in the class to accommodate for emergency situations that might have occurred at the college, including snow, which we didn't get this year. Instead, we got the COVID-19 virus. So already I had time padded into the semester, and we'll just use that time for those 2 weeks that we had off recently. Okay, so this week we covered ethnicity, and I think it's really important just to quickly talk about ethnicity. So don't forget, by Sunday 11:59 your quiz on ethnicity is due. Briefly, I just want to address my in-class classes that have converted to online. They're new at Forum Post, so I just want to address some things with them very quickly. Number one, even though the due date says Thursday, all initial posts are due by Tuesday, response posts due by Thursday. Initial posts need to be at least 300 words. They need to contain sources that I have given you. Response posts need to be at least 200 words, and they are due by Thursday. You can always respond earlier than that to a fellow classmate, but the actual due date for just the response post is Thursday, 11:59. You agree, you disagree, and you state why. If you have any questions, just like in my online class, about posts, they're right here. Initial forum post, response post, okay? So if you have questions about format or a checklist, it's all right in those documents. So find some time to review those. Ethnicity, we spoke this week about ethnicity. We had some really good answers to questions. I actually enjoyed reading your forum posts. One question that I think is really important is the census. So if you haven't already, please fill out your census. I know this is uncertain times, but I just ask you to fill out your census, one per family or household. That would be great. It's really important to fill out the census because it's how the government allocates funding to census tracts or to specific cities or states. And so if we don't know how many people are living below the poverty line, or we don't know how many students are not attending college, or we don't know how many students or people in general are living in specific conditions, then the government will not give funding, or thinks that census tract or city or state is doing better than what they're doing. And so it's really important for you to fill out the census. So if you haven't already, find some time to fill out the census, either mail it back or you can actually do it in an online format. So please just fill out the census if you're the head of the household. It only needs to be done once, and it'll prevent They're not allowed to knock on your door now, but it will prevent individuals from contacting you because it is part of the Constitution for you to fill out the census. If you have any questions or are worried about the census, please contact me. I am a census trainer, and I do have information, and I can actually point you to one of my good friends who works for the Census Bureau. There you go. Okay, that's my spiel on the census. All right, so what do we have due next week? So a couple things what we have due next week is we're covering folk and popular culture. So initial post due by Tuesday, response post due by Thursday, quiz due by next Sunday, April 5th. Folk and popular culture definitely is something we need to talk about today. With the rise of TikTok and other things, my kids are always doing all these challenges that they're finding throughout the world. Another thing is they get to see products that are that people eat or people play with throughout the world. So one thing is these jelly fruits. I don't know, they're really popular. They come in these little plastic containers. You eat them, they look like Jell-O, but they actually are enthralled by these jelly fruits. I think they come from Japan, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong with that. Please don't judge me on that. But, you know, they watch these videos and all of these things become like pop culture. Because it's the rise of these new mediums that we use. Always, every year, there's some new bracelet. Last year, it was like fidget spinners. Then it was jelly bracelets. Then it was something else. I mean, there's always these new trends, and a lot of times they become part of the culture or folk culture, which is really interesting. And that is, you know, how cultures were represented in the past or are still represented. So in the Native American, there are specific cultural dress that's used in powwows and other religious ceremonies. There are specific garments that are worn, and these are all folk cultural objects. The popular things are when I'm talking about TikTok and jelly fruits and all this other stuff. So there you go. So this week we'll be talking about folk and popular culture. And then one big item, the last big item I want to speak with you about in this video is your revision. So what do I mean by revision? I actually mean your draft. So your first draft for your paper is due by Sunday, 11:59. While I know the libraries are not open, the college library is accessible for databases. So if you look up here, you'll see here, there's a whole module on your course project. CCP Library help for the final project. I've made a wiki page in conjunction with the library, so you can click on the wiki page. It gives you tons of really cool resources. Here's how do you create an outline. You don't need that because we've already created an outline. Here is how to conduct research using the CCP Library. I've made a video to show you how to do that, so if you're confused, there you go. Okay, so remember that your draft or even your final paper in this class, no websites are allowed. So you need specific sources from each category. So you need books, you need primary sources, you need databases. Okay, what do I mean by a primary source? That is an article, a news article, a current day news article, maybe a past news article, maybe a letter, maybe a map, specific things that are current. And I give you a little information on what primary texts are right here, so you want to make sure you look at that. So make sure when you're writing your draft, so here's how your draft's going to look. You're going to have your title page. Your title page is going to have your name, the title of the topic that you're going to cover, along with the thesis statement. So topic, thesis statement, name. Okay, then the next 2 pages are going to be your draft, your body. It has to be 2 full pages, single-spaced. 2 full pages, single-spaced is your body. Okay, that's the next things that will be there. Then you have your appendices. A lot of students forget the appendices. Appendices are required in this research paper. It could be a map, it could be a graph, it could be an image, and then within your document you write, if you look at appendix blah, 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 you will see the graph that represents the change in corn growth due to, or rice growth due to the Green Revolution in India, okay? And then you explain why that graph is significant to your paper. So you want to make sure that you incorporate your appendices into your draft. okay? Because your final paper requires appendices, and students always forget it, and they lose a significant amount of points on their final paper by not including appendices. So make sure you include appendices. So your paper should look like this, your draft. Front page, title page, which has the topic, the thesis statement, and your name. Then you write your body of your paper. Nothing needs to be on it. You just indent and start writing your body of your paper. Then you have your appendices, and then you have your source page, okay? You need to make sure you have sources from each of the categories. So don't forget, if you're confused about what categories they are, then you need to look under the instructions for the proposal. All of that is written there, okay? So by Sunday, 11:59, your draft 1 is due to me. I'm giving this to you now because then I can make comments on it and respond back to you, and then you can make those revisions for your final paper submittal, okay? And I want to give myself plenty of time to read them, write comments, and then give you time to go back and make changes or do additional research. So it's absolutely important you do this. I know we all have tons on our plate. I know we're all kind of out there and worried and etc., but I really need your help to submit this, because a lot of you are failing this course because you haven't submitted anything to do with your final project. Your final project is worth a significant portion of this, so I need you to submit your final paper draft for me, due by Sunday, 11:59. Okay, I'm thinking about all of you. I miss seeing a lot of you. I need to rush because my battery's going to run out on my computer, but I miss all of you. I'm hoping everyone's doing well. If you have questions or issues, problems, please reach out well before the due dates. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be available on Sunday this week, so please reach out to me because of family obligations. Please reach me before that about any problems that you may have with your draft. Okay, I look forward to your drafts.